Well, right now, voters in Florida will not get a chance to decide on recreational marijuana this November.
The Secretary of State's office says that every initiative petition failed to meet the ballot requirements. Capitol Bureau reporter Cody Butler explains what happened.
Florida voters support legalizing recreational marijuana here in the state. An effort to do so got more than half the vote 2 years ago, but not enough for it to pass. And now an effort to put that back on the ballot this year has stalled. The culprit could be a new state law.
The bottom line is this battle for recreational marijuana is not over as of today.
Last year, Florida passed a law making sweeping changes to the petition process, which includes a $1 million bond before collecting signatures, requiring paid petition collectors to be Florida residents who pass background checks, and shortening the timeline for turning in petitions to election supervisors.
The number of things that have to be done now to yield a person's signature as valid, the hurdles have just kept increasing since last year.
This year's push to legalize recreational marijuana is one of more than 20 initiative petitions that missed the mark. The Secretary of State's office says Smart and Safe Florida turned in about 783,000 valid signatures, roughly 100,000 short of the requirement. The group disputes the count. They say in a statement they submitted more than 1.4 million signatures and believe when they are all counted that they will have more than enough to make the ballot. They call the Secretary of State's announcement premature.
Signature petitions have always been difficult to get on the ballot.
Attorney General James Althmeyer led the campaign against marijuana legalization in 2024. He's now investigating petition fraud in the Smart and Safe Florida's collection effort under the new law. Last month, a woman was arrested and accused of forging signatures.
I think this highlights the danger of these petition gathering processes, things going on the ballot where you have fraud in the election system.
The legislature has already put 2 proposed constitutional amendments on the ballot for November and is expecting to add more, including one on property taxes, before election day. In Tallahassee, I'm Cody Butler reporting.